Karen mocked a veteran's limp. He won a discrimination lawsuit. In the bustling town of Willow Creek, where the sun always seemed to shine a little too brightly on the manicured lawns and overpriced coffee shops, lived Karen Bloomfield, a woman who thrived on drama, entitlement, and the sound of her own voice. With her platinum blonde bob, oversized sunglasses, and a perpetual sneer, Karen was the self-appointed queen of every room she entered. She'd complain about the barista's attitude if her latte wasn't foamed to perfection, demand to speak to managers over the smallest inconveniences, and strut through life as if the world owed her a standing ovation. But on one fateful Saturday morning, Karen's reign of terror would collide with a force she couldn't bully into submission: justice. It all started at Brew and Bliss, the trendy cafe on Main Street. The place was packed with weekend brunchers, families laughing over pancakes, hipsters typing furiously on laptops, and a lone man in a faded army jacket sitting quietly by the window. His name was Daniel "Danny" Rivera, a 34-year-old veteran who'd returned from his third tour overseas with a Purple Heart, a permanent limp, and a quiet dignity that didn't need to shout to be felt. Danny had been through hell, IED explosions, sleepless nights, and the slow grind of physical therapy. But he'd carved out a peaceful life in Willow Creek, working as a mechanic and keeping to himself. That morning, he'd come to Brew and Bliss for a black coffee and a moment of calm. Karen, however, had other plans. She stormed into the cafe, her high heels clacking like gunfire on the hardwood floor, clutching her designer purse as if it were a shield against the common folk. The line was long, and Karen didn't do lines. She huffed loudly, tapping her foot, and when the barista, a nervous teenager named Mia, asked her to wait her turn, Karen's face twisted into a scowl. "Are you kidding me?" she snapped, her voice cutting through the hum of conversation. "I have places to be. Do you know who I am? I'm a platinum member of your rewards program. I deserve priority service." Mia stammered an apology, but Karen wasn't done. Her eyes scanned the room for someone else to blame, and they landed on Danny. He was just getting up from his table, his cane tapping lightly against the floor as he made his way to the counter to refill his coffee. His limp was noticeable but steady, a rhythm he'd learned to live with. To Karen, though, it was an affront. "Oh, great," she said, loud enough for the entire cafe to hear. "Now we've got Mr. Gimp holding up the line. What's wrong with you, huh? Can't you move any faster? Some of us have actual lives." The room went silent. Heads turned. Danny froze mid-step, his hand tightening around the cane. He turned slowly, his dark eyes meeting Karen's with a calm that was somehow more intimidating than anger. "Ma'am," he said evenly, "I'm just getting a refill. I'll be out of your way." But Karen wasn't satisfied. She smirked, tossing her hair. "Oh, please, don't ma'am me like you're some kind of hero. You're just a lazy bum with a sob story. What, did you trip over your own feet and decide to milk it for sympathy? Pathetic." A murmur rippled through the crowd. Mia's jaw dropped, and an older woman at a nearby table muttered, "That's disgusting." But Karen reveled in the attention, her ego inflating with every gasp. She didn't know, or didn't care, that Danny's limp came from shrapnel tearing through his leg while he dragged a wounded comrade to safety under enemy fire. To her, he was just another obstacle in her perfect day. Danny didn't respond. He simply nodded, refilled his coffee, and limped out the door, leaving Karen to bask in her petty victory. But what Karen didn't realize was that her outburst had been caught on video. A college student named Jake, sitting in the corner with his phone out, had recorded the whole thing. By noon, the clip was on X, racking up thousands of views. The caption read, "Entitled Karen mocks veteran's limp at local cafe. This is who she is." The internet erupted. Comments poured in, some calling Karen a monster, others demanding justice for Danny. Someone identified her from the video, linking her name to her real estate business, Bloomfield Properties. By evening, her inbox was flooded with hate mail, her Yelp page was tanking with one-star reviews, and her phone wouldn't stop ringing. Karen, predictably, doubled down. She posted a half-hearted apology on X. "I'm sorry if anyone was offended. I was having a bad day. People need to stop being so sensitive. It only made things worse." Meanwhile, Danny wasn't interested in the online circus. He'd gone home, fixed a carburetor, and tried to forget the whole thing. But Jake, the student who'd posted the video, tracked him down. "Dude," Jake said, sitting on Danny's porch with a laptop, "this lady's a nightmare. You could sue her. She humiliated you in public, and there's laws against that." Danny rubbed his jaw hesitant. "I don't want trouble. I just want to live my life." "She's not gonna stop," Jake pressed. "She's already trashing you online, saying you're faking it for attention. You deserve better than this." Jake was right. Karen had taken to X again, posting, "That so-called veteran is a fraud. I bet he's never even seen combat. Probably just a moocher looking for handouts." That was the last straw. Danny called a lawyer. The lawsuit was filed quietly. Daniel Rivera vs. Karen Bloomfield, citing public humiliation, defamation, and discrimination based on disability. Karen laughed it off at first, hiring some slick attorney who promised to crush the cripple in court. But the evidence was overwhelming. The video showed her mocking Danny's limp in front of dozens of witnesses. Medical records proved his injury was combat-related. An ex-post from Karen's own account painted her as a callous, unrepentant bully. The trial was a spectacle. Karen showed up in a garish pink blazer, smirking like she'd already won. Danny sat quietly in a simple suit, his cane resting beside him. The jury watched the video, their faces hardening with every word Karen spat. Her lawyer tried to spin it, claiming she was just joking and freedom of speech, but the judge wasn't having it. When Danny took the stand, his voice steady as he recounted his service and the pain of being ridiculed, even Karen's attorney looked uncomfortable. The verdict came fast, guilty on all counts. Karen was ordered to pay $150,000 in damages, $50,000 for emotional distress, $50,000 for defamation, and $50,000 in punitive damages to send a message. Her real estate business collapsed as clients fled, and her name became synonymous with karma in Willow Creek. Danny donated half the money to a veterans charity, keeping the rest to buy a new truck for his shop. The last anyone saw of Karen, she was storming out of a gas station, yelling at the clerk for not accepting her expired coupon. Some things never change, except now the world knew her for what she was. And Danny? He sipped his coffee at Brew and Bliss, the regulars nodding respectfully as he passed. Karma, it turned out, walked with a limp, and it hit hard.